Welcome, critics, live from Denver. It is Friday night. Let's make sure that, we are all live and well. And on this, the 25th of March in the year of our Lord, 2022, I am always happy to be joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this Friday, March 25th. So this is, first off, we have a few things. Dino, I saw your question in the comments before the show started about the THC and the dreams and stuff. I find that fascinating, and I will be happy to address that. So keep reminding me if I do not remember to get back or circle back around to that. We wanted to talk about dreams of all kinds, and we loved that you guys jumped in and were talking in the comments, you critics, about the dreams like that you have at night, in your brain kind of thing, versus, let's say, dreams and goals and aspirations and desires and hopes and things that people have also in their brain, but which are used as symbols, as thoughts, as motivations to, goal making and achieving goals and stuff. And I think that has a lot to do with the sort of life itself at its core. Has a lot to do with motivation and with will and dreams and ideas and goals and aspirations. And of course, my specialty, of control, which I realize now I get to say, it's funny. It's not fully imposter syndrome anymore, but it's like fitting into a new set of clothes. You're kind of like, how do I, where, what's
breaking in shoes?
Yeah. What stretch, where, how, what, Anyway, from that perspective, goals and ambitions and motivations and desires can be used as tools or ways of manipulating a person. And even coercing them. And so I wasn't thinking we would spend an hour talking about that aspect of it, but just as a point of, this word encapsulates a few different pretty weighty concepts and fun stuff to talk about. So we've got, so I thought it might be an interesting thing to discuss. And I'm seeing hellos to everybody here in the comments, which is awesome. So, hey, hon, that's awful on the audio there. Oh, thank you, Mark Ritchie, for that super chat. Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you. Always appreciate the support. Oh, there we go. Hey, hon. Okay, good. She can hear us now. So X-Sign is asking about our dreams.
Well, I'd like to own a house one day.
Yes.
I'd like to have my own creative career going rather than working for the man.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe we could get a little doggy.
Yes.
I'd like to travel a lot more. Want to see all kinds of places.
Yes. Yeah, hit me real hard, that business about, this was fairly recently, actually. Somebody asked, or we were talking about our happiest moments together or something like that, actually. And I realized that all those moments, all those times were when we were out doing something together, and that was fun, and not even necessarily uniquely, once in a lifetime or jumping out of an airplane or something, just out doing things together. These were memorable experiences that stuck with me, and I thought, I want to have a lot more of those. I think we all do. Video looks okay to me. Hope it sticks with you guys. There might be some internet. I know bandwidth issues will sometimes make it look like the resolution goes in and out or up and down, and that's unfortunate. But it looks like we're maintaining a pretty clear cam here.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, making memories, exactly. This is going to be the last show in this room.
Yes.
We are moving this weekend. Like when this show is over tonight, I will be packing up this table for the last time. Like, it will be broken down, and we will be putting it back together.
Yeah. And I'll be getting my own office.
Yeah. Yeah. And my man cave will remain my man cave, and you'll have your woman cave.
Yeah.
situation. So we'll have matching caves.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're moving, and we are excited to be renting a house.
Yes.
Rather than an apartment. We are excited by that, and we are excited by our new landlords and by the situation and everything around it, and the location is we think better than the location we're at now. And it's not super far. I mean, it's at the other side of town, so it's all I will say location wise, publicly is North Denver area, which is a lot of territory. So so we're moving up there. Right now we're down in South Denver, way south, down in near Parker.
Yeah.
So definitely
we're
still
far away from everything and everybody.
Yeah. So definitely still here in Colorado. We're not actually leaving Denver. We're going to be still officially classified as living in Denver, where we're going. So, hey, Scotland! Wow. Oh, Way to Happiness book. All right. Yeah, you should definitely buy and burn all of those. No, I'm just kidding. Don't burn books, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. So this is all happening this weekend. We've been planning on it for a couple months now, and now it comes to fruition. So we're excited. We are, for the first time, we are hiring professional movers to come and do actually the moving. Some young strapping lads with their truck can come.
Yeah, because last year when we had to move into this place, the vaccine wasn't widely available yet. So it's basically me and him and my family, which consisted of my parents, my 2 sisters, and my sister's husband. So we were all too old to be doing
it was
that.
It was the fogey patrol. Yeah, it was pretty bad. We were anyway. It was very painful experience, and I hope not to repeat that. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So it's one of your dreams. That's kind of. We're moving in the right direction, and so I've always been happy that every time we have changed or shifted locations, it's been a step up in some way for us, whether square footage or quality of life or whatever. And so we think this is going to be another one of those kind of moves, and we're happy about that. And by the way, just to kind of throw this out there. All of this is possible because of you guys.
Definitely.
By the way, just saying, this is this channel, my life, my work, everything I'm doing for you and with you guys is fan funded. So we really do appreciate the support from you guys. Seriously, we really do. And all the Patreon followers and everybody else. We had some great new sign-ons this last couple weeks on my Patreon side too. So anyway, I want to welcome everybody on that side. Okay, so. Yeah, when you hire the movies after 35, exactly. Hey, London. Hey. Excellent. Okay. So dreams. Let's go ahead and did you have a quote you wanted to share about that? First off, because we didn't want to do your quote of the week.
No,
I
have a quote, but it's funny because. All right. Oh no, it is the quote. I thought it was okay. So. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Langston Hughes.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, like if you let go of, especially like certain dreams, that are still achievable, like it can really hurt to just let them fade away.
Yeah, unrealized.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, I could have done that. Why didn't I?
I could have been a contender.
You regret it.
I could have been. Yes.
Regrets hurt.
Well, they do. Or they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learning to let go has certainly been part of my recovery process, learning to let go of some of the regrets and pains and stuff of the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to figure out any kind of solid formula for that. I think everybody has to kind of figure out their own way. Unfortunately, with some of these things, the answers are within us, and we have to find them ourselves. But speaking of with dreams, so Dino was asking before the show or in the comments early on about thoughts about dreaming and what that's all about.
Yeah, and he was asking about
and the
THC
and
dreaming.
Yeah, right. Whether because apparently that causes a person to, what Heihan was saying was it is to not remember their dreams. And so, okay, let's go with that. Whatever the cause is or reason for a person not being bothered by or assaulted by or traumatized by or re-stimulated by their dreams, I would suggest that's probably in a good direction in terms of mental health or good mental stability, because dreams, I think, are rather random things that our frontal lobes sort of make sense of. If you're looking at it from a neurological level, it's a bit of an electric storm, and your frontal lobes are left to pick up all the pieces and put it together in a puzzle picture that makes some degree of sense to you. And I believe that's kind of basically what dreams are. And so when the most prominent or difficult memories or the ones that have the most intensity light up, i.e. are traumatic events, and this is where we get into complex PTSD or PTSD situations, where there's one or multiple instances of that in a person's life, and the brain just remembers those more selectively or easily or rapidly than it remembers other responses or other memories. Then that can really inhabit your dreams, and that can really mess with your mental health. So, because rest time is when things are supposed to kind of chill, as I understand it.
You heal for the next day.
Exactly. And if there's been any interpretation that I've read about this so far from neuroscience, it's that, nighttime is the healing time. It's also the sort of resorting time when the events of the day or whatever sort deeper into the gray matter as far as what's going to be kept and not, or remembered or not, or how are we going to think about these things. And so that's kind of necessary. And if that process is constantly being interrupted by trauma dreams, right, by things that wake you up, hallucinatory, auditory, or auditory or visual hallucinations type of thing, right, which is what dreams are, then you might have a real problem in the day of sorting your shit, basically, letting your brain do its job.
Yeah.
And that could lead to more stress, more anxiety. And this might be, what I'm suggesting is this could possibly be part of, or a big chunk of what's going on with people who are coping with or dealing with PTSD and complex PTSD or past traumas. It's kind of one of those things where it sort of prevents its own resolution in a way, because it keeps agitating you and keeping you going. So if pot or psilocybin or other psychedelics or medications are able to soothe the savage beast, so to speak, and provide chill nights of rest where a person can just kind of feel rested after that rest, then I'm 2 thumbs up on that.
Definitely.
That's what I think.
I mean, I've had nightmares about traumas and stuff too, and it's just the worst when you have that, and then it takes you right back there. And so people that have strong PTSD, they can definitely probably want to forget all that at night.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have a call.
Oh, yay.
Okay, we're gonna pick this up. And hello, you are on.
Hi, how are you?
We are good. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. I do have a couple of questions. I don't want to take a whole lot of your time, but a couple of things have occurred to me. I was watching John Atack, and apparently somewhere he found a tape of Ron Hubbard saying that he did not believe in spiritual immortality, just immortality to achievement or fame or infamy. I mean, if the guy did not even believe in immortality, then he's selling everybody a bill of goods.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
What a charlatan.
Yes. It changes everything if you look at Scientology through that lens, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any, the guy is like, oh, I'm going to give you high levels and you're going to get all rid of these spirits. Where do these spirits come from? He didn't even believe in them. I mean, this guy is just selling everybody a bill of goods, and I wonder how many Scientologists are aware of this.
Oh,
because they're just following.
No, the Scientologists are not aware of this. No.
Because
and if they were to become,
say,
if they thought that if somebody tried to tell this to them or something, they would absolutely reject it.
oh my God, they are not open to new ideas, are they?
No, they're not.
I wondered, and something I wondered about. Okay, Tom Cruise broke his ankle. Excuse me, I've broken a bone before. It's very painful. I wonder if he took any pain medication. Maybe there's no way to find out. I don't think an assist would work.
I don't think so either.
Not on a broken bone. Not on a broken bone.
No, and Hubbard, and let's be clear that Hubbard does allow for medical treatment, and he specifies broken bones. He says doctors are good for that. Go see doctors and get that sorted. I sound like a Hubbard apologist when I say this, but I'm just trying to be clear that Scientologists can go get their broken bones dealt with.
That actually clarifies it. I just wonder if he would allow pain medication.
Not for long. No, because you can't get auditing if you are on pain meds.
That's amazing. I'm taking anxiety medication. I don't know what I'd do without it. And, it's just like, I don't think Scientology would have fixed it.
No.
And the medication, they're not doing lobotomies anymore. For God's sake, this is progressed like everything else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
This is just, but the thing and another thing, okay, one last question. I don't want to take too much time.
No, go ahead.
I've noticed that on YouTube, a bunch of people are putting down Leah Remini. What happened all of a sudden?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't noticed that. What is a bunch of people? What happened?
Well, some of them, one guy, I don't know if he's his father or stepfather, he said, well, I'm her father, and she wanted me to sign a non-disclosure thing, and, she's not really being fair to her family or nice to her family. And I'm like, I have a hard time believing this. I think she's a great woman.
Is he still in Scientology?
Well,
Remini's not in Scientology.
No, but her dad, I wondered. Yeah.
No, her father was never a Scientologist. Okay. Her stepfather was, and yeah. But that's I would not be too concerned about that. That's mostly at the level of celebrity gossip, is what it looks like at this point. I'm not seeing any current anything on that.
It's just making me angry because she's so courageous and she did such a great job. And one last thing, I know Danny Masterson case.
Yeah.
I live in Indiana, and another lady lives here. One of the ladies who was assaulted, and she claims that Scientology burned her house down.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and two of the others said that they killed their pet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is beyond just harassment.
Well, that was exactly why they're trying to bring these suits, is because it's not just harassment. It's a full-blown hate campaign, and that's what the Church of Scientology does to its perceived enemies, and that's not good. So I hope that these women get some justice.
I don't even see how to get away with this stuff because it's clearly illegal to commit arson.
Well, clearly it is, but you
have to prove it.
You have to prove it. Just because you think it's Scientology doesn't mean it is. So you got to prove it, and that's the hard part.
Yeah, and I thought they get away with so much. Oh, one last question: do they still have the hole or not?
They have a version of it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was as we understand it, but these same people are still sequestered away and not afforded a whole lot of rights. It's still bad up there, but it's not the same as the double-wide trailers with the locked windows and doors and security guards. As we understand it, that doesn't exist the same way anymore. But to think
I
that
don't
there's
think
not
this
something
is-
equally horrible going on. I mean, it's Scientology. It's always worse than you think. So, you know, they're up to something.
That's an optimistic thought.
I know.
Anyway, how was that?
I know. It's true though. I mean, it is always worse than you think. Every single time I thought I have hit rock bottom with Scientology, some new revelation has come out that has been even worse, you know? And so
Well,
I
when
always
I
have
heard
to.
of the possibility of setting the house on fire, I was just astonished.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And when you were in the Sea Org, how did sleep deprivation affect you?
Oh, well, it hurt. I mean, it was painful. What did I say the other day? It's like you get to a point where it just hurts to be awake.
Mm.
You know, like it's just painful.
Did you feel like disoriented?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can see things. It's a whole different place. It's very, and for me, it was very difficult because, of course, you become very short-tempered. It's harder to understand people. You feel hungrier, right? You're looking for energy and you can't find it because food is not the same as sleep. You know, there's various things that happen to you along the way that you're trying to solve, but the only way to solve it is to get sleep, but you can't get sleep. So it's a little crazy making.
Did you hallucinate?
A little bit. Yeah, you'd see. I mean, for me, that didn't mean I was seeing people or having conversations with non-existent entities. I was, colors or, the shade of things. I mean, things would just be. The world looks darker through those eyes. I'm not quite sure how to describe it fully, because it's.
Well, I kind of understand. It makes a lot of sense. In fact, I had read that sleep deprivation is a major torture, actually. Mm-hmm. So, I can't believe they do that and they think it's a good thing.
They do.
Yeah. I just like to tear out of their minds. And I hope good luck on your move. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations on finishing your master's.
Thank you. Yeah, and still waiting for that grade.
Thank you. You still haven't gotten it?
No, still waiting. It's driving me crazy. We're waiting. We're being patient.
Oh, it drives me crazy too. Well, have a very good evening. And did you like Batman?
Loved it. Did a whole movie review. There's a whole video on my channel, movie review of it.
Okay, I'll look that up. I thought it might be a good movie. One last question. I'm thinking of things. I saw a little video on something called The Prophet, Profit, that Scientology banned. It was a satire.
Oh, yes. Yes. I have seen that. Yes. I think I actually did a little, I think I talked about that somewhere on my channel. Yeah, that's a funny little show, that one.
Yeah, it looks hilarious.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for calling.
Well, thank you. And thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right. We have another call in the queue, so I'm going to pick this one up.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jump to it?
Yeah.
All right. Is this David?
Yes, it is.
David, hey, welcome back to the show. How's it going, man?
Hey, yeah, it's been a while. Pretty well. I was supposed to call last week, but I got my hours mixed up.
Yeah,
daylight savings and all that. Hopefully the U.S. Senate has put in a bill to see about keeping it at this time now.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it'd be such a silly practice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apparently in Britain in the 1980s, they tried to do away with it, but it didn't really work. And there was things to do with crop harvest and farming and stuff. Now, I wasn't alive at the time, and obviously I'm just hearing second-hand accounts. But apparently they did try it in the 80s or something, and it didn't work, and they reverted it.
Huh. Well, we'll have to see how this goes. It's funny. Here's what's funny to me about this, and I think I might have even mentioned this last week real fast. And it's just funny to me. I'm not even making some big statement here. But in the media, every single year around this time with daylight savings, we see nothing but stories and opinions and editorials about how awful daylight savings is, how we need to turn it back, how we need to cancel it, stop it. For God's sake, please, can somebody make it go away? And then we finally put something through to make that happen. And it's nothing but stories all over my newsfeed about what a disaster it would be if we got rid of daylight savings. So I
just got to get everybody riled up. That's all
I just find it hilarious. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. They're just trying to get everybody riled up.
Yeah. Anyway, David, I'm sure this is not what you called about. Please, what was on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a while. I might send you an email about what I've been up to in the last few months.
Sure.
I was not going to start here where everybody can listen. It gets archived and everything. But no, I mean, not too much going on. But I think you're touching on an interesting topic about dreams as a topic. I'm just wondering, whenever you were thinking of this as a potential topic, were you thinking of more like actual dreams that people have, or were you thinking of talking about ideas like the American dream?
My idea was more on the latter, on the dreams, goals, inspirations, and motivations kind of side. But I'm happy to go either way. I knew it was open to going either direction or both. So. Yeah.
I mean, I will say one thing again. I mean, I know I talk about China occasionally when I'm here, is that everybody can tell you what the American dream, with a capital A and a capital D, is supposed to be. Anyone can tell you that in some way. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If they've got a bit more time, they'll say that the American dream is that any upward mobility, which America does have more of than the UK, even to this day, I think it's fair to say. But then you go to China in the modern era, and they're talking obviously all in Chinese, like Chinese dream. Nobody can tell you what it is. Because
really?
Yes, really, because it doesn't actually exist. It is made up. It's made up as a propaganda phrase.
Right.
But I actually found funny in the subways in the city that I lived in. Obviously, on the subway, you're a captive audience, and it may surprise you or it may not surprise you to learn that the TV advertisements were mostly political propaganda as opposed to trying to sell you products.
Sure.
Obviously, you're a captive audience. You're in
sure.
a subway car. Yeah. What I actually found hilarious was, because they had the translation in it as well, some guy could be saying fast and reliable trains are part of the Chinese dream, and I'm just sitting there laughing to myself, like America, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Britain, God save the Queen. France, Marseille. Chinese dream, fast trains. Like how vacuous.
Oh my God.
Well, when you live a life that is not quite as I don't know, efficient, or I don't know what words to use exactly with this, but certainly not the same quality of life that we enjoy in the West.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I'm trying to get at here is that the whole idea of a national dream or national consciousness. I mean, in a country like America, it came from the bottom up historically, or at least it came from the new government. It wasn't imported from Britain.
That's right.
In other countries, the rulers can say, this is the national dream, and well, if you try to question it, suddenly you disappear. And it's like maybe like North Korea and places like that as well. And frankly, Scientology, clearing the planet. And if somebody was, I think you mentioned it a while ago about you realized how long it would take to clear the planet. Nobody in Scientology can say that.
Exactly. And in fact, I mentioned,
almost
I think
8 billion people,
that I mentioned that when I brought it up to other Scientologists, would come the thought-stopping cliches, as you've been describing, right? The mantras, oh no, it's all good. We got it all in hand. It's all under control. Or, we're going to make it go right. We'll figure it out. Well, we just need to keep playing the birthday game. Of course, all the thought-stopping cliches line up like dominoes. And, that's par for the course across human endeavors, unfortunately. You just see it turned up a bit in cults.
Yeah, because you've got your captive audience there. And
That's right. That's right.
Natural leader who isn't going to be replaced. But no, I mean, like again, it's like a country like America, where it comes to bottom up, the people's conceptions of it can change. In a free society, we can talk about what that means to us. In a totalitarian country, or especially a cult like Scientology, what the leader says goes. Like
that's right.
David Miscavige and all that he's done to the Scientology tech. I remember there was this huge argument among class 12s about how many things needed to happen for a floating needle, for instance.
Well, exactly, and it's not so. It's not really so different from what we're seeing right now with to shift back to the real. They're not the real world, but Scientology is the real world, but a bigger world. With Russia, right? With Russia right now, and the information control, right?
Yeah. But the difference between Russia and if this was happening in China is that Russia has a civil society. It may be being suppressed. It may have a difficult time, but Russia has a civil society of some sort that exists. And we've seen it. We've seen the protests in Russia. We saw that very brave woman in the newsroom.
Right.
That would not happen in China. If anybody said anything on Chinese social media, it would be censored in 5 minutes. It would be deleted. The government would call the
absolutely.
The government would call the executive, and it would be gone.
Absolutely. What I want to point out is that we are seeing a move towards similar levels of drastic control in Russia than we saw pre-invasion, right? They're really clamping down. It's a process they're doing. It's not a done. It's what they're doing right now is clamping down on any resistance, any effort, any mutinous statements, etc. And it's been impressive to me how forceful it has been in such a short period of time, and that they've managed to get away with it.
It doesn't really surprise me how forceful they've been. The one thing that I've been thinking of seeing this going on is that China took years, maybe decades, to perfect this, and it was boiling the frog. By the time anybody realized there was a problem, they didn't. Russia had a civil society. It had access to Western internet. It had Twitter. It had Facebook. It had Instagram and everything else, which China doesn't, because God forbid you might say something they don't like and the Twitter won't delete it because the government says so.
Right.
Russia is trying to do in a month what China has done in years.
Exactly, and I pointed out that exact same difference the other day.
They didn't. They didn't do the structure the right way.
Well, they didn't have a cultural revolution, and that's I mean, there are big differences between Russia totalitarianism and authoritarianism and Chinese authoritarianism in this, and how they arrive there is one of those big, huge key differences. So how it's manifested has been vastly different as a result.
It's one of the reasons that I have more hope for the future of Russia once this whole invasion ends. I do think there will come a point where, whether it's to do with economics or whether it's to do with not too many sons coming home in coffins, or a combination of the two, that people will storm the Kremlin. And if Putin's really hid out in a bunker in the Urals somewhere, if the people stormed the Kremlin and declared a new government, what's he going to do about it from a bunker in the Urals somewhere?
Well, he's not going to do a whole lot from that position, but
exactly.
But the reason I get a little bit antsy, or you see my face kind of go with that, is only because the product of revolution is invariably worse than what came before, almost 100%. I mean, I don't want to say 100% of the time, obviously America, but but I'm always hesitant that the righteous path is really going to be followed. You know what I mean? It's such opportunity for authoritarians. What's that?
I think the best example of that historically is probably the French Revolution. If you read, I read it, Edmund Burke's Reflections on Revolutionary France, he basically predicted the Red Terror. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about the French Revolution is that if Louis XVI had not tried to run away from France, and nobody really knows why he did, he probably would have survived.
Interesting.
Genuinely, he probably would have survived, and France could have taken a path of evolution rather than revolution, and hundreds of thousands of people would not have been beheaded in public squares.
Yeah, exactly.
But then America is obviously a very different example. But the example that I really have trouble when people talk about this today is Libya. I, to this day, believe that the intervention in Libya was completely justified from a humanitarian perspective and from a counterfactual perspective. And I find it very, very silly almost to people to say, oh, at least things were stable under Gaddafi. Oh, look what's going on, there is no Gaddafi. Well, Gaddafi centralized all power to himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Gaddafi it wasn't a much better situation than North Korea. I mean, come on, folks. No, that was horrible. Gaddafi ruling Libya was awful.
Might have known it was. All these people talk about, one of the reasons the propaganda from Libya worked is that people talk about the great man-made river as a success. It wasn't a success. I've seen a photo album of pictures of Libya, and there's these big, massive sections of pipe on roundabouts that they say are public art installations. It's actually bits of this great man-made river that never really worked. And what did they do with metal pipes? They stock them in public squares and call them public art installations. But it's like someone like Gaddafi he centralized so much power to himself.
Yeah.
Anyone who would have known how to run a country would have already been considered a threat and already would have been bumped off. So when now the people have to run a country and nobody knows how to run a country, but that's by design.
It was a crazy situation there, compounded by the fact that he was actively pushing for and training other revolutionary, groups and outfits. He would bring people to Libya and do terrorist training there quite openly, quite blatantly, and it was an active effort to increase the amount of revolutionary terrorist activity around the world. And there's just that's not good. Not good.
Yeah, and in my country, the UK, the IRA, he was a well-known public arms supplier of the IRA.
Yeah, Black Panthers over here as well, back in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh
yeah, crazy stuff. So poor Henny here, we're filling her dreams with dread. I'm wondering if we might have something a little more positive to move towards. I brought up Russia, and it's on me, but did you have any other comments on dreams before we move on?
I mean, not a little bit. I mean, it's like the one thing I will say about individual dreams is that you really can't make much of them. You've got all these dream psychologists that try to find patterns and stuff, but you really can't do much. I mean, but 11 years ago now, I had a series of recurring dreams set in a science fiction war setting that I'm using as the springboard for a novel I'm trying to write. But if anybody tried to analyze those as anything meaning something, it's like you're screwed. It's like, sure, your dreams happen. Maybe something happened more than once. They might even form a narrative in your head, but don't take it too seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah,
all right, David. Well, I'm going to let you go because I have another call in the queue, but this has been fascinating as always. So.
Absolutely. Great to be back.
Yeah. Nice to have you back. And thanks for coming around.
Yeah. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. All right. And do you have any comments or anything we should jump on here before we get to the next one?
I don't know enough about Libya to say anything.
Yeah, Libya was kind of out there. I only know about that stuff, of course, because, I study authoritarianism and crap, and there is a good source on some of this. What was that show Peter Dinklage narrated that we watched? The authoritarian handbook or something?
No, it's How to Be a Tyrant.
How to Be a Tyrant. Yeah, the Tyrant Playbook. Yeah, that was on Netflix. It's a good show. You guys should check that out. They go into Gaddafi as one of the, I think, 6 tyrants that they focus on. All right. Oh, that's a good question, Cyan. Before I pick up this last call here, did you hope and believe that Scientology would help you achieve your dreams? Was that one of the things that made it hard to leave? You're goddamn right it was. You're goddamn right it was, yeah. Letting go of those hopes and dreams was a years-long progress for me after getting out. Even knowing it was all bullshit, knowing Hubbard lied, knowing all of it was nonsense, those dreams lasted and those hopes persisted, and the idea. And I even said it. I was open about it. I said, I don't have spiritual beliefs. I have spiritual hopes. That's why I said that, is because they persisted for me as desires and hopes and dreams and things that I would love to have achieve. Be God, be endlessly powerful spiritually or whatever, or to realize that the end isn't the end, that there is more to our life than our body dying. And, the caller earlier mentioned Hubbard's dream of slamming his name into history. And John talks about that, rightfully so, because Hubbard did say that his view of immortality was that we were going to keep saying his name after he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I've ironically commented on the irony of that, right? That this is quite something that he has persisted. That motherfucker died in 1986, if I might be so rudely blunt.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about him, right? So, wow, right?
36 years ago or something like that?
Yeah. So... anyway, so there you go, right? So that is a kind of immortality, and it's the kind that Hubbard wanted. But when you read, but for me, the fascinating and most interesting part about that is when you start reframing the things that Hubbard talks about when he mentions immortality or talking about personal spiritual freedom. A lot of that comes from the marketing materials of Scientology. You actually dive into what Hubbard actually said and reframe it against this understanding, and Scientology starts taking on a whole different look. You're like, oh my God, I didn't ever look at it that way before. And anyway, it's just kind of interesting as a former member to take that and sort of turn it on its head and look at what you have anyway, So, all right, Travis, we are picking up Travis now. Hello.
Howdy.
Hey.
Howdy,
welcome
guys.
to the show.
Good to
Hello?
Yeah, it's good to be here. One thing I'd like to say about Hubbard and immortality is the guy took himself seriously, and now he's a punchline and gets roasted nonstop. So if you want to call that immortality, it's
True
fine.
that.
He's a cautionary tale at best.
True that. Good
And
point.
that's not what he wanted. Yeah.
Yes.
He would have wanted anything other than that.
Yes.
Yeah, he wanted to be
So-
revered.
Yes, that's exactly right. Which actually might be one of the bizarre underlying motives for why he wrote Jokers and Degraders. Because not only did he not appreciate being joked about in his lifetime, but he didn't want anybody joking after he was dead either.
Ugh.
So.
Well, I mean, what do people do all the time? They think the guy's a scumbag, and they laugh at his monkey rear end. So, good for him. Now he gets talked about like that. So, all right. My question for you.
Yeah.
This is a Scientology question leading into that. What's an ethics upstart?
Oh, wow. Ethics upstart.
Have you heard that?
You'll have to tell me. That's an interesting phrase to me. I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so there is a policy letter that came out in 1969. I don't expect you to know that. I think it was in March, and it was it's a directive, an executive directive,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, the policy letter is this is one of several, and an ethics officer is supposed to be inserted into an organization to help it run better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, however that's defined. Now, I don't know exactly what an ethics officer is or what an ethics officer does.
Okay.
However, foundationally, the directive says that basically when an ethics officer is in the organization doing their job in quote unquote building files on individuals, whomever that might be, the organization will run well, and they're creating a safe environment. And if the ethics officer is doing a job that's well done, thereby creating a strong org.
Okay.
Now, all of that put together means that people are getting screwed with, just going off of what your program has taught me. And that means that people are getting hounded and gaslit and told that they're screw-ups and all the above. Now, would that be a fair interpretation on my part?
Yes, and I will add that even more nefariously, with Hubbard's mention of files on people and this sort of network of every organization is now going to have this ethics officer posting, what you have here is Hubbard's installation of the lowest level elements of his spy network, which he actively and purposefully created from 1967 through to the end of the 1960s. And this was the formation of what we know as the Guardian's Office, which now translates to the Office of Special Affairs. Those ethics officers are informants. They are eyes on the ground. They were the first of many. There's about 5 or 6 different postings in any Scientology organization whose sole function is to be the eyes and ears of a management unit up above them for various purposes. They have different spheres of responsibility. And the ethics and justice framework is embodied by these ethics officers. So they're the lowest level of this spy network, is why I call it that, because they engage in interrogation, investigation, data collection, and keeping files and dossiers might be another word that you would use, from the spycraft world for what they're doing. And that's what you're actually reading there when you read about Hubbard talking about ethics officers and files.
Okay. This is quite fascinating because the term that I would use for, on its face, that directive, sounds to me like, well, this is in the civilian world, that it's describing some form of an operations officer. Somebody who comes in and says, these are the rules, these are the standard operating procedures that we need to follow to minimize injuries or increase output or something like that. And that's fairly basic. That's very common.
Yep.
So that's the well, this isn't public. This is not supposed to be public, but it sounds innocuous, but on the same token, this is some KGB nonsense kind of stuff.
It really is.
That's scary.
Yeah, no, it really, really is. It sounds, anybody who thinks I'm framing this in some weird, nefarious way, no, I'm serious. I'm downplaying it. This is really what Hubbard did. And that really is, and he did it right out in the open. As far as Scientologists are concerned, I mean, he established this whole framework right in front of them and told them it was this other thing, and it was there to service them and help them and be there for them, when in fact it is inspections and reports, and it is monitoring their behavior and policing their behavior. That's what that is all about.
You know what I just realized? What you've just described is what the KGB used to have in the Soviet Union in most military units. Well, not the KGB, the GRU, which is military intelligence. And there was a civilian equivalent. It was the political officer.
Yes.
And the political officer in every single, you know what that is?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And you're right. That's a good analogy for what this function is. And a lot of people translate human resources in any corporation anywhere now to this kind of function too. Although it's, I don't know that that's always true, but yeah, that's how that works.
Well, I got one better for you. Human resources, it works for the devil, but that's not every case.
I think you got rid of it.
Offline, I could have some discussions with you about that kind of stuff, but either way, I'm not trying to be. be Mr. Bitter here. I thank you for your information, and hopefully there's another comment today, or more discussion on mental stuff. I always like her comments. All right, y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travis. Bye-bye, man. All right, good deal. See, people like your stuff. I tell her all the time. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's witty, and she's really funny too.
Thank you.
All true. Okay. Yes, I have a dream. Yes. So hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends and family. Spread the word. I want lots more viewers. I think we have good shows, and I think we talk about good stuff, and I think we have important things to talk about. And I want to talk about it in front of more people. And I want to expose this woman to more people. Expose more people to her. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, no. Take what I just said and turn that around. Totally turn that around. Okay, good.
Makes
you
it sound
people.
like I'm a shut-in.
Yeah, no, we don't want any of that. Okay, so we talked about the thing. I said no podcast this week because of the move. We talked about the move. There is already shot the Q&A for this week. I think you guys are going to like it. I tried something different this week. There's only 4 questions answered in the show. Usually it's 5 to 8. And I did longer answers this time. It's still almost an hour show. It's like 50 minutes or something. So I dedicated more time to the answers, and I really dug into some Scientology minutia this week. So I hope it comes across well. You know, it's really hard to explain nonsense in a logical, sensible way, and I tried to pull that off in this Q&A this week. So you guys let me know if I succeeded or not. Anyway, yeah, and then we'll see about getting going on the next thing with the ICSA presentation done, the move done this week, and that out of the way. I think I'm really going to be able to go full tilt boogie on this tone scale video now and get this thing rocked out. So that's a happy news for me. All right. Let's do our critical thinking cards.
Personal incredulity.
Oh, okay. So this is my my critical thinking cards. This is my deck of logical fallacies and cognitive biases. These are ways we don't think so good, or ways we look at the world that filters things that maybe we shouldn't be filtering, or ways we shouldn't be doing that. And this one is a logical fallacy. It's called personal incredulity, saying that because one finds something difficult to understand, that it's therefore not true.
I was just thinking that in my head about people that do that, about how just because they think, they'll be like, oh, that's not logical when it comes to like a mental illness or something. Like, why would someone be like that? And oh, that's not logical. And you're like, yeah, that's the point. It's not supposed to be logical.
Here's the example given here is Kirk drew a picture of a fish and a human, and with effusive disdain asked Richard if he really thought we were stupid enough to believe that a fish somehow turned into a human through just random things happening over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe evolution works a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that.
Maybe it's slightly different. Fish,
Henny wanted to know if we're doing
human.
a show next week.
Fish, human. Pardon me, I'm sorry. It's just it really got me cracking. Yes, we are definitely doing a show. I mean, we will let you guys know. But so watch the comment section, I guess, or the community tab on my channel. But all plans are that we are fully set up and operating next week. So yeah, we are definitely planning on doing a show.
Yeah.
Next week. It's not hard. It's not too hard. It shouldn't be too hard to set this up and get going again, even if we don't have the finalized version of what the room or the studio space will look like. All right, guys, I think we're going to start wrapping up here. You guys have been awesome. Thank you again for your support. and your viewership. We really, really, really love it. And I do want to ask that you help me grow my channel. It's a small ask, but to me, it's an important one. To like the content, share the content on your social media platforms or around, or email it to people or whatever. However you do it, I just want to get my content in front of more eyes and help more people. All right, guys, I'll see you next week.
Good night.
Bye-bye.